I made a brand new gold dragon from scratch this week, along with way more dragony D&D prep as well. Such as getting way too in-depth about how much a dragon egg might weigh given its length, if you can reasonably expect that it's got a similar ratio of density between the thickness of the shell and the egg and the shape of the egg as a chicken egg, and going into a whole spreadsheet and Desmos graph where you can adjust sliders of if you had different thicknesses of egg and different densities, how much would it weigh based on the length of the egg. I might have autism. I'm discovering. Did that surprising anyone? Anyway, why was I doing all of this? I wish I could say it's because it's Dragon Week, an annual event hosted by Ginny D and Pointy Hat, where we take a particular beast or monster. Last year it was krakens, this year it's dragons, and then the TTRPG creators from all over YouTube get together and create content about them. But that's actually a coincidence. A really terribly timed coincidence. Here's a reenactment of a moment I had last week. Oh, Kraken Week's back, and they're doing dragons this time. Cool. I'm in the middle of an every waking hour hyperfixation on last minute prep for the new Viva La Dirt League campaign right now, and this mini-series happens to be all about dragons. So I'm sure I'll have plenty of content to talk about when the Dragon Week rolls around. When is it? Oh, next week, during the aforementioned filming of the miniseries, when I'll be up at 6 AM every day and won't be going to bed until midnight or 1 AM in prep for the next filming the next day. Cool, I'll do Dragon Week content as well during that week. And here we are. So, with the new campaign being all based around dragons and dragon lore, Adam and I, from Viva La Dirt League, have been working together on the homebrewing of coming up with what the lore of the dragons in that world actually are, and how to separate them from Forgotten Realms and default dragons. Needless to say, there's a lot I could discuss about it, but I've chosen to focus on gold dragons for this video because I think they're the most different to Forgotten Realms dragons. In Azerim, the red dragons remain fire dragons, but the black dragons are more shadowy necrotic dragons, the blue dragons are more arcane and ice dragons, and the green dragons are more corruption, still poison, but a little bit more plague and illness and disease. So the biggest difference for gold dragons is that they've kind of replaced the niche of the fifth evil dragon. Instead of being good dragons, they're evil dragons, and with the difference in flavour of all the different immunities and breath weapons of the other dragons that we've redone, we needed to find which niche gold dragons carved out. Adam kind of left it to me to decide, so I started digging into what gold is. So firstly, I looked at the chemical composition of gold, and one of the first things I read about was how unreactive gold is to acids. You could drop pure gold into most acids and it would come out unscathed. So of course I decided gold should really be immune to acid. And then I thought, well, if you have immunity to acid, you can contact acid without it hurting you. Perhaps they could suck up acid into specialized bladders and then they have acid breath weapons. Would make sense to me. But I've also always found that a singular dragon damage type immunity and breath weapon is a little lackluster and boring. So I want it to have something else, a little bit more dynamics to its resistances, so I kept reading. Turns out gold is actually a very good conductor of electricity and heat. So I thought, well, what if they were able to take a reaction when taking electricity, lightning damage, or heat, fire damage, and they can, somewhat similar to the Absorb Elements spell, they can halve the damage, they can temporarily give themselves resistance to it, and then store the excess energy, the damage they didn't take, and then use that in their next attacks, their claw attacks, as they are literally conducting electricity through their gold bodies. Thought that made sense. I kept reading. I found that gold is also an excellent reflector of light. And so I thought, similar with radiant damage, maybe they can take a reaction to become resistant to radiant damage and reflect that damage immediately, not through their next attack, but just reflect it immediately at whoever's nearby. Maybe you hit them with a guiding bolt and they reflect that off to another one of your allies, and you hit your ally with a guiding bolt instead. So those things were fun, gave a little bit of damage, a little bit of dynamic strategy involved when you have to fight one. But I wasn't done, because I also read that gold is one of the most malleable metals. So Adam and I had already discussed how he wanted all of the dragons of Azerim to be able to shape change, to be able to take humanoid form. But I figured with this malleability of gold, they needed something a little extra. So what I've done is I've gone through the other dragons and I've decided that yes, they can shape change, but for them it's a little bit like wild shaping for a druid. It costs them a little bit of a resource, not too much, but it costs them something, and then they can only stay in it for a certain amount of time. They're limited in what they can turn into, mostly just humanoids. And then that's sufficient for most of them. They're proud enough to not want to hide their dragon form for too long. Whereas the gold dragons, I've decided, they can turn into humanoids, they can turn into beasts, they actually enjoy shape changing, they enjoy the fluidity and the malleability of changing into different creatures, and they have no limit on how long they can stay. It seemed to fit my impressions of what a malleable metal dragon might feel like. So anyway, that was a very quick insight into one of the 1,000 things I've done this week in preparation for dragons. I spent way too long on dragon eggs. So enjoy what's left of Dragon Week, enjoy the other TTRPG creators that are making dragon content, dragontent, if you will. I got you, Ginny. Hopefully next year, Monster Week falls in a week that I'm not having 4 different burnouts. Bye for now. Wait, before you go. Stop what you're doing. Don't forget that you haven't hit the like button yet. Do it now. Thank you.